Hi Petros, welcome to BizTalk. That's my great pleasure having me today. How are you?
Hi Max, very real pleasure. Thank you for having me on your talk. Looking forward to our discussion. And yeah, having a good day. Having a good day.
Thank you, you too. And the pleasure is mine. So let's start talking a little bit about yourself, your background, your experience, what you've done so far.
Mm-hmm. So hello. Today I'm the CEO of iCEEP. It's my second venture. My original venture started my entrepreneurial journey. Let's put it like that. Started in 2016 around systems innovation in urban waste management. Long story. The principle was very basic. How do we make waste management more effective for mega cities like the ones in Asia? Yeah, stop moving waste around in collection and focusing on individual buildings. My venture span off. Today's venture, iCEEP, was a spin-off from an accelerator program, the Climate Kick Accelerator program. That's one of the biggest innovation programs in Europe. And iCEEP, was a pitch. I had a pitch here in Zurich at the Impact Hub, proposing the idea of a reverse Amazon in order to support the circular economy. It had good feedback from the audience and from the Impact Hub. So at that point, it was the trigger to say I'm going to give it a second shot to the entrepreneurial journey with iCEEP. And that's when the journey started. We got incubated in the circular economy incubator program of Switzerland from the Impact Hub. It really got us in touch with what it means to set up a reverse Amazon for the circular economy.
I like reverse Amazon.
Reverse e-commerce. Reverse Amazon, reverse e-commerce. And the principle is very simple. Like, we all have all these things at home, in our closets, in our drawers. You have mobile phones, you have sports equipment, you have clothes, which for whatever reason, it's not to judge anybody. For whatever reason, we stopped using them. We changed our hobby, or might have put on weight or lost weight. We changed our job. And these things sit around in our homes. And it's how do we take those things back from households and turn them into a resource. And this resource can take two types of formats. Either there's somebody out there that wants to reuse it, so it fits in the secondhand market, or these materials can be recycled and reused in industry in order to minimize our impact on the natural resources of our planet. And to implement this, we really focused around the brands. It's about the brands that we all know, the big brands that we all know. They're all actually moving in this direction. And what we did that is special, this process is called the take-back scheme. So it's the brand will take back its products in return for a reward or loyalty program towards its customers. And what we did, this take-back schemes have been around for a while. They've been around since the 90s. And some brands really implement them very successfully. But what iCEEP did differently, and I think this is where the circular economy will flourish, is we digitalized the process. We transformed it into a digital process, which really minimizes the effort from the consumer side. So now with a couple of clicks on your mobile phone, you can return your products to any brand, whether that's Adidas, or these are not our customers, but to get the concept, your mobile phone, your headset, your old running shoes or your tennis racket, you can return them to the brand. We'll pick them up from your home with the Swiss Postal Service. And in return, the company will give you a digital reward. And that's what we help. We help them set these take-back programs up and make them available to their customers in the Swiss market at the moment. Okay, we cover the Swiss market.
I mean, you develop an application, I suppose, and a web as well. But how exactly does it work, the service? How do you exactly provide services to both sides, okay? To the brands and to the customers or consumers?
So first, the brand itself, we work with the brand to design its take-back program. So which product lines it wants to take back from the customers. And it works really like an e-commerce. So it's sneakers, let's say, tracksuit pants, tracksuit tops, shorts. And the brand chooses these products. And then it chooses the rewards it wants to give to its customers. Each time a customer returns one of those products, they unlock the rewards. So there's this gamification process. And let's say you, Max, you have a pair of trainers at home and that brand is part of iCEEP, then you click that you want to return them. I'll send you a little envelope with the postal service. You'll place them inside and drop them off at your local post office. And those products will come back to me. You'll get your reward. And then with the brand, we define from beforehand the recycling service or the secondhand market that this product will go into.
So you are in between. You manage the supply and model supply. Yes, these are the logistic behind door. And how does complicated can be managing all the logistic? And after you need to define with any brand what's going to be the end of this product, which means we are going to upcycling, recycling, or what is going to be.
So that was a conscious choice. I mean, iCEEP today is supported by the Global Social Entrepreneurship Program of Microsoft. It's also part of a startup program offered by Google. And basically, the decision we made was conscious one. We don't handle the logistics. We let the experts do it. So we work with the Swiss Post. They collect the items from the Swiss market. We have a warehouse provider, which is a traditional e-commerce provider. We set in place very standard procedures in advance with our warehouse provider. They do this anyways for standard e-commerce because they have so many returns from e-commerce already that most of these processes are integrated into their, with little tweaks, if you want, they can adjust to our service. So we don't actually handle the process. We're just the tech provider and the interface provider from all sides. And this allows...
You organize the process by your technology, but you don't handle it. You don't manage the process.
Yes. We're not handling the physical movement of goods, if you want. We just find the right partners in the market. That's our job, is we build up the partnerships, including the recyclers. We have partners for recyclers. We have our partner for warehousing, our partner for logistics, and our tech just makes sure that the information flows between all the partners so that the products move through these value chains.
Brands are not that many, and probably you're working with the best one who has big market share. And what about the customers? How do you reach them?
So that's exactly, I mean, at the moment, to be clear, we don't work with big brands. That's our next. iCEEP's only been around for a year. Okay. So we've been physically serving the market in Switzerland for 3 months. We have 9 brands. They're mostly local brands. So you would be surprised how many small brands there are, especially in the fashion industry. There's a significant amount of boutique brands, but our next big target is the bigger brands. Of course, they're the ones that cover most of the market share and have consumers everywhere. Everybody has an item from these brands. How do we get consumers? We're a B2B service, but we service the customers of the brands. So we develop everything for the brands. We can white label our solution for the brands, and then they market the service towards their customers. It's basically what we do is we transform a sustainability tool into a commercial strategy, into a very sharp commercial tool for the brands themselves.
So is the brand is telling you which customers is giving back, and the customer will never be in contact with you. You know what? I want to give back this one. They had to go to the brand. To the brand.
Well, we offer two. The white label is an optional solution. So we offer our mobile application, which is not white labeled. It's iCEEP's app. Yeah. And it's suitable. It's the cheapest format that you can implement your take-back scheme if you want. We think it's the right way forward because let's say you want to return your tennis racket, your Levi's jeans, your running shoes, going to each of the websites to try to return your products is going to be a nightmare in the end.
Yeah, of course.
So we think that everything together in our app makes life easier for the consumer. Of course, it's a novelty at this stage, so we had to white label the solution because many brands want it to be independent at this stage. We believe that there's a tipping point where it would be more advantageous to be in our app than it is to try to white label the solution.
So if I'm a consumer and I want to give back my any kind of clothes I have, and I can come to application and you will tell me where I should go.
You come to my application, you search for the brand, you go into the brand, and then You pick the item you want to return from the brand, and it comes back to us, and then you get your gift.
So I need to make sure that the brand is in your
with me. Yes, exactly.
On your platform. I mean, what about you have many partners involved, right? When it comes to revenue, how does it work? Are you sharing revenue? How the business model?
Yeah, at the moment, each from our, I mean, a significant. We service the brands from our perspective. That's who we service. Our primary revenue is offering them, setting them up, offering them a digitalized take-back scheme. And then for us, it's each player takes care of their. We can make multiple revenues from these spaces, but at the moment we want to scale the business, so we minimize our impact on everybody as little as possible in order to grow as fast as possible. The biggest value of iCEEP will be its data in the end, because we create a touch point with the consumer, which is very unique. I can pick up on how you used your products from the brand. I can tell the brand where in the market its products are. There's a high concentration of customers. So let's say you're a sports brand and I'm covering Switzerland. When I see what products are coming back, I can tell you have a high concentration of customers, let's say in Geneva. So you can really strategically think about marketing and sales there. I can tell you how people are using your products. Yeah. Are your running shoes really worn and torn? And when you get them back, it means you're running a lot. Yeah. Do you specifically like specific types of running shoes? And this type of data is really valuable in the commercial world. And we see that scaling fast to gather as much of these data points as possible will be the most valuable aspect of our business.
You are headquartered in Switzerland, you start in Switzerland, and you are testing right now your service in Switzerland. What's going to be next?
So our go-to-market strategy, in actual fact, is very, I mean, in Switzerland, the no-brainer is to move into Austria and Germany, the DAX region. But it is, I think this is the space that is good for us. The circular economy is located in this part of the world very strongly. The Nordics, Holland, Denmark, Switzerland, Austria, Germany. I would say this is our main target market area. You could make many parallels to iCEEP, to the zero waste food app, Too Good To Go, that's come around quite often in recent years. It's done really well. We would follow a similar, I believe we'll follow a similar growth rate and transition as this type of business, being basically they do zero waste by connecting restaurants and consumers. We do zero consumer product waste by connecting brands to consumers. And our primary in the next 2 years, we hope to open up a next market, that being mostly Austria or the Netherlands. We've had very good traction in the Netherlands. So that's probably our next market that we would look at opening in actual fact.
I do believe we buy too much. We buy more than we need. Mm-hmm. And I think circular economy should teach us that we should buy less. Mm-hmm. I know maybe it's not good for the economy. I'm not that sure. But because economy sides and everything is sides on how much we consume. If we consume less, maybe the economy can be sides a bit lower. But we are still in a very good shape, and maybe the world will be better, because the waste is absolutely the first problem we have when it comes to climate change. Mm-hmm. More than vehicles, more than everything else. Mm-hmm. And so I do agree what you're doing, and I do suppose what is your view of the future. Now, are you in fundraising right now?
We're actually so we closed our pre-seed funding round last year at 110,000 Swiss francs. So we incorporated last year, 2020 in June. This brought us to where we are today. We developed our mobile application and our web-based solutions, technical solutions. It got us to a starting point with pre-revenue, with some revenue, initial revenue, and our 9 brands now at the moment. Yes, and we opened a funding round in September, a seed round, 750,000 Swiss francs. We will have it closed completely by February. It's a convertible loan. We're working on a convertible loan setup with minimum tickets of 50,000 Swiss francs, entry tickets of 50,000 Swiss francs. This funding round will give us a runway of 18 months. The core principle around it is really to use Switzerland to cement the business in Switzerland and make it exportable. That's the key fundamentals. Switzerland is a very safe playing ground for us. All the services work very well. Our partners work very well. The tech partners are all headquartered here. So we have a very good pool of knowledge and a good level of service. And the main principle is really to work with bigger brands. That's our next big step in business development with this funding, to package everything very nicely and make it exportable into Northern Europe, mostly, as I explained before.
For what is my opinion, working with big brands will help you to scale by itself. Mm-hmm. If you're working with Nike, for example, Nike is everywhere around the world. So they can help you to export outside Switzerland, if we can use export as a word, and scaling actually organically. When it comes to the scaling model, I mean, you're an entrepreneur, you already know already where you want to go. You have your vision. Mm-hmm. You already size your company, I hope, to 1 billion at least. So what's your scale up strategy for the next 3-5 years?
So the primary objective is to find a strong logistics partner, the equivalent of the Swiss Post. We are in conversations with very big ones from the Nordics at the moment. So that's key, to be able to service consumers around Europe. That's the priority, to be able to do that. That would be our focus group and our target, the fundamental, if you want, building block on our capabilities to scale. This is pretty possible. I believe it's challenging. We need to find that partner. It means we need to look hard and we need to scout them very, very well in the market, but they're available. And then it's really the scaling will happen around end of year 2. So we'll open a seed round around then. That's what we'll focus on, and have like really strong European brands that are behind us. Like you said, like you mentioned Nike. I think of what I see, it will probably be more European brands, maybe from this region of the world, which look to service their customers in these markets very strongly and work in a partnership model with them here.
Federer just had an IPO.
Yes, it's a very good IPO.
He's
it's a very good IPO
guy. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it works well. I think On is a very good example in the top 5 sports brands that we can think of. I think it's the size of the brand. It makes sense. I mean, the big boys like Nike and Adidas can do what we do on their own. Yeah. So that's the alternative. You can go at it on your own, or you can use a service provider to use economies of scale to bring down your cost. And that's what we can offer to brands like Puma or On or Reebok, for that matter, that need to keep up with the big guys and looking for alternatives to outsource part of the business of take-back service.
I mean, you described as reverse Amazon. Amazon, I want to compare to Amazon because there is nothing to compare. But are you going to handle, which means seriously handling the logistic one day?
That is definitely in the books. I mean, it's not off the books. I believe for 2 reasons. I believe that, first of all, it all depends on the volumes that we're handling. Logistics is a volumes game. So I think there is a cost threshold, which becomes more attractive for us to insource components of the logistics. I don't think everything, especially in dealing with the first mile, that we call it, or the last mile, as you want to see it. I don't think that part. I think warehousing would be smart to insource at some point when the volumes are big enough. And from my perspective, we talked about the long-term vision. I think the resources of our planet are mostly in the waste streams or in the households of humanity. They're no longer in the natural in the natural reserves of our planet. So I think if you want on a very big level, wealth is generated. Today we have two sources of wealth: resource and data. And I think iCEEP can eventually tap into both. So the resource and data, I mean, in a good way, I hope, to minimize the implications of human activity on the natural resources of our planet through the exploitation of the resources in our waste streams. I think that's what we will try to do.
Where do you see the recycling economy, which means in your sector, so wasting and the size of the market, how big can be for your company? And in Switzerland and let's say in Europe, starting from now.
I think the numbers evade me. I think the total waste market is somewhere at 460 billion, somewhere around that, or 630 billion.
It's huge.
Huh?
It's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, it's not only. I mean, it's on the one hand it's waste, on the other hand is resource. I mean, think that now they estimate that there's something like 62 billion annually in gold resources in the electronics that we throw away. These type of number, the more scarce gold becomes in nature, the greater the resource availability in the waste stream. Yeah. The biggest problem that we face in waste today is that we put everything together, where we fail to create very stable material flows that can be matched to technologies. And I think, and that's a bit where I like to see iCEEP go, is like to build very stable material flows so that you can match the right recycling solution to that material flow and optimize the recovery of resources in that flow stream. And that's a bit where I think digitalization is what will succeed in this process in the years to come. So for instance, let's put it like this. Apple right now has a take back for all electronics equipment in their stores. It's very hard if one phone is a very circular phone and you put it with all the other phones, all of a sudden it's lost its value as a circular phone.
Sure.
You need to keep those special units out of the mix that we call waste, if you want.
I mean, as an entrepreneur, where is your company? What's your vision in 5 years where iCEEP can become?
Can be. In 5 years' time, I'd like to be the go-to mobile application for take-back services in Europe. Like really, if you have something in your home that is from a reputable brand, from a recognizable brand, okay, because I mean, we still have cheap products coming into the market, but from a reputational brand, whether it's your bed sheets or your towels, your textile towels, your clothing items, your electronic goods, it's a reputable brand. You can return that product through iCEEP, through our mobile application, and we are able to cover at least Western Europe with our services. That would be my aim over the next 5 years.
Let me close with, if you want to give a message to investors, right, and why they should invest in iCEEP, and also what can be an exit strategy for them.
Mm-hmm. So a message to investors, why do you invest in iCEEP? I mean, there's definitely the level of impact. There's no way of staying in the process that we are today. Brands, consumers, we need to move towards this circular model. And iCEEP found a space. There's a lot happening, but we found a nice space in that market. And we're delivering to a need in the market. A need from both sides, from the brand side and the consumer side. And we are obviously an early stage startup, but I think we're delivering to that need in the market, and the market feedback is good for us. We have work still to fine tune the service and make it perfect for the customer, but we're in the right space at the right time and in the right path. I think also the value of iCEEP is around what I said before. We're able to tap into data and to resources and both will become very, very valuable in the future, in the near future, not too long future, in the next 10 years. And the last question was, what did you ask me?
How do the exit? Are you going to IPO? What's your idea?
So the exit for iCEEP, I mean, we can take multiple scenarios. I think iCEEP will probably, exits can occur from recycling companies or the e-commerce platforms. So the e-commerce platforms are probably the ones that would look to move into our space, since they're already dealing with this thing. There is a mindset shift that you need to think of how items are not returned in the same way that we buy them. So this might be a bottleneck for e-commerce platforms, and easier to buy us out than it is to them to develop the whole solution. And I think also the perception of an e-commerce platform versus the consumer and brand perception of iCEEP is very different. iCEEP is there to drive sustainability, drive impact. E-commerce is there to sell. So I think these are a little bit contradicting scenarios, and it's nice to differentiate yourself from the e-commerce space if you want.
Absolutely.
I think that then the next scenario is, like I said before, I mean, I don't take it away to want to go IPO with iCEEP. Take it all the way to where it deserves to go. IPO is realistic. We're in a space that is very unique. And why not IPO, iCEEP, take it all the way and really take it to IPO in the next 5 to 10 years.
I mean, you say something very clever, and I do agree. We have compared to how much we buy, we give back much, much, much less. So I do hope service like yours can improve, and one day we can have 1-to-1. If we buy 100, we give back 100. If we can reach this level, we have zero waste achievement. And this will be the ultimate goal for everyone, because, as I said before, wasting is the biggest problem we have, and we buy too much, absolutely too much. So I do hope you can reach your dream, and I wish you to IPO, because, as I said to all the founders, the feeling when you IPO is nothing compared with the feeling to be bought or to be merged with something else, right? And it's different. It's the ultimate goal and the best achievement you can have, be an entrepreneur.
Professionally.
I wish you to IPO, and
thank you, man.
From absolutely all my heart, you need to IPO, because I do believe entrepreneurs need to IPO. Petros, thank you very much for coming to BizTalk. It's been a very great pleasure for me.
Same here, Massimiliano.
And again, I wish you all the best. Good luck.
Thank you. And look forward to staying in touch. Thank you for the invitation tonight. It was fantastic. Thank you.
Bye-bye.